Uh, okay, we're back. Sorry, trying to keep an eye on my dog. I think he's about to piss on the floor, but anyway, episode 135 on the
Oh,
Mortgage
he's
Code
got his own
podcast.
podcast.
Yeah, it's often conflicting studio time. So we might have to wrap up a little early tonight. Don't want to get into an argument with him. He made me lose my train of thought. Oh, Morse Code podcast, episode 135. I'm Dan Morris. This is my co-host Sophie Priya. To start off with some pleasantries. How are you? How are things?
Pretty good.
All right, and we'll see you guys next time. I don't know. I know we're both pretty busy today. We didn't put too much pre-production into it. I know we'll get into a few things. Before we do, some quick housekeeping. Just checking on your housekeeping. Everything good?
That not so good.
Okay.
It's
we don't have
a
to talk about
fucking mess.
Okay. Definitely don't want to talk about that. As always, proudly brought to you by Cold River Vodka, Spirit of Maine. Check them out online at coldrivervodka.com and at Cold River Vodka on Instagram and Twitter. What else? You can buy merchandise on our merch store. That's literally my wife and I's retirement plan, so very much appreciated. And I don't know. What's up with you? What do you want to talk about? Football, music, entertainment?
Yeah, I
economics?
feel like we'll save economics for the next episode. Group economics, to be specific. Yeah. That was on Iguodala's jersey, or was just economics?
It was something economics. Group economics sounds right.
Yeah. Hey, nothing says 28 like group economics. I don't know what the hell is going on besides like football in this area right now.
I mean, we can start there. Big game this weekend. A lot going on. Pats, Bucks, Patriots, Buccaneers at New England. Tom Brady at New England.
Mm-hmm.
You see Brady today?
Yeah, I did. Interesting.
Oof. He doesn't look well to me.
No. They'll still drop 45 points.
Oh, that's irrelevant. I'm not talking about it. It has nothing to do with the game. It'll be 45-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
What do you think about the game? Seriously, we haven't really talked about it too much. You think the Bucks are going to blow them out?
So I don't think that's going to happen. I think that should happen. Like, I don't know how it makes sense that the Patriots will be even remotely competitive in this game because their defense isn't that great. And
neither is the offense, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I got news for you. Special teams doesn't look much better.
Yeah.
So they're running out of aspects of the game to have the edge in.
I swear to God, if we see a gadget play to pick up like 3rd and 2, I'm going to be pissed. And it's going to happen. I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, I don't know how else they're planning on picking up 3rd and 2.
Nothing
else has worked. The handoffs to Brandon Bolden haven't worked all that well.
Oh God, I didn't think he belonged on the team back in like 2012, and surprisingly, I still don't think that he belongs on the team. But whatever.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you can run gadget plays on defense, but they might have to do that too.
Inspector Gadget calling the play calls. Yeah, losing James White for the year kind of blows.
Yep, big time.
My personal opinion. Yeah, that's not great. He's a nice piece to have in the backfield. Yeah. Everything okay on your end?
Good locker. Yeah, I'm just. Whoa. One moment.
Are you recording on a boogie board?
On a Ouija board.
Okay. Oh, we should do a Ouija, like just play the Ouija board live on air one day.
I was going to say we should interview one.
We could interview someone via a Ouija board, someone dead.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, put that in our just put that somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at a spread recently. I haven't seen anything crazy. 5.5, 6, I think is what I saw throughout the week. I don't know if it's changed drastically. Looks like Antonio Brown is available Sunday. Richard Sherman, I don't think is available Sunday. That was a weird signing. I thought he was done. I'm surprised he got a shot. I also forget what it was like domestic violence, right?
Uh,
Like that.
I think
I
that
think he
was
got in a
like
fight with
kind
his
of the
wife.
tone of the arrest, but like, didn't that story?
Oh,
Obviously, it feels like it did. It just kind of disappeared
7.
really quick.
Yeah, it did. It spreads up to 7, by the way.
Gronk is out.
Really?
Hmm Per
Since when? Where'd you
Paul
hear that?
Perillo, if you've
Oh,
ever heard of him.
jeez. Afraid I have. That's
Patriots Football
interesting.
Weekly. Hmm
That actually is interesting.
I okay, so he said the tweet was something like
Ah, Jesus. Yeah.
Gronk was out of practice, so likely he's out of the game. So
Oh,
do with that what you will.
I thought you were going to say like Gronk fans are out of their mind if they think he's not playing on Sunday night per Paul Brillo. Yeah. Again, it doesn't matter. Gronk could play. He cannot play. Brady could be alive, not alive. I think they cover 7 because to your point, they are going to have to do gadget plays, I think, to score or excuse me, to pick up first downs. I don't know how they're going to score.
Yeah, the Bucks will definitely cover 7 because the Patriots can't cover anyone.
Oh, nice.
Put that
Yeah,
in your
good one.
headline.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a good subtle headline. That's honest to God better than most of the headlines you've actually prepared for and like put on this show. I
What
don't
if
know. It's almost been a month and they're just not very good at scoring touchdowns. Patriots. The only one I really remember is the Aguilar one.
I think
Yeah.
I agree with that point, surprisingly. What if because we covered this in the last episode, what if Gronk doesn't suit up, but all of his equipment does? They just
Still
throw
gotta
that out
cover
on
it.
the field. Look a fucking
You,
transformer.
you still got to respect it.
Oh yeah. Those
That's
pads just
tough.
line up against you.
Yeah. Maybe like a decoy, but got to cover it. I'd probably lock up JC Jackson one-on-one with his pads. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I at this point, I just want to get to the game. I really don't care anymore about any of like the other stuff. I don't. There's probably gonna be 6 hours of pregame coverage. You know what I mean? There's gonna be a bunch of like little promos run throughout the show. I really at this point, I just want to watch the game. You know, I as a like person who watches football, I would say I think the Bucks are favored to win, which obviously they are, but I think they should win handily. But I'm curious to see what New England does. If they come out and play competitive, as in like the game's not over in the fourth, like going into the fourth. If it's like 28-10 going into the fourth, okay. But if it's like, if they're within a couple of scores going into the fourth, I'd call that hanging in there. Mac Jones plays decent.
Yeah.
If Mac Jones can get some damn protection, good grief, that'd be good. And then as far as Brady, like that offense is just too loaded. Like he can. We haven't really played many electric offenses, I would say, between Miami, the Jets, and New Orleans, and they haven't looked great against either of those teams. Maybe the Jets, but I think, I think Tampa could, if they want to, do some electric things on offense, even without Gronkowski. Any of the Gronkowskis, specifically Bobby Gronks. So I don't know. Are you looking like, are you interested in any of like the off the field stuff, like any Brady Belichick promos and stuff like that? Are you like antsy to see what they do pregame or postgame?
Not really, because it's not going to be much. Like the extent of any of their interaction in the end. I'm surprised people haven't mentioned like the like what's it going to look like when they go and shake each other's hands at midfield. At least I haven't seen that. Maybe I'm just not paying too much attention, but I don't know. Like there's only number one that one of them is only a coach, so
Right.
I guess I'm more interested in seeing what kind of defense Belichick has like kind of saved up his sleeves, because I honestly do think that he saved something.
Yeah, I hope so
for this game.
Yeah, I hope we haven't seen everything through the first 3 weeks. There's got to be something else. But to that point, I think that's hard to do on defense. Like, what are you going to throw at him on defense? It'd have to be like one of the stupid ass plays like we talk about. Like you need like Matthew Judon to like moon Tom Brady at the line of scrimmage or something.
Oh,
and maybe force him to call a timeout, which would be sick. I would take that for sure. That was actually pretty funny. Immediate. Go ahead. I know you have
I was just gonna say it just results in an incompletion, and then like the game goes on as usual.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Hey, it's a stop. I take it.
Yeah.
Matthew Judon was pretty funny today. At least I saw like from his press conference after like 6 questions about Brady. I think he got a little fed up and was like, hey, we got to take care of the whole team. And I think I tweeted at the same time, it's like, what do you like going into this week? What the fuck do you expect? I literally wouldn't expect a non-Brady question all week.
Yeah.
Like, why would the very like limited opportunities you get to ask a question? Like, why would you waste on something not Brady? Like, why would you ask about, like if they've schemed up against the 4-3 defense, and are they ready if they switch to like a 3-4 or something? Like that's a throwaway question. I don't know.
The whole thing.
Thoughts on it? Yep.
No, go ahead.
No. Check. You go ahead.
Okay. Shit. What if this is how First Take worked?
No. Max, you go. Oh, Steven, I couldn't. And then Molly. I guess we're going to break.
You're far too nice, Molly.
Please, Max. Floor is yours.
The little Twitter thread that I accidentally found myself in the crossfires of as no
shit. Taking strays at 8:30 on Thursday. Hey.
So
who's that? Cam and Taunton and someone else?
It was Cam and Taunton. For anyone who doesn't listen to like Boston sports radio, he's probably the most famous or most frequent caller of all of the radio stations. Yeah. Like they know
do a
him.
Hierarchy of 98.5 callers, like who some of our favorites are.
Oh, that's true.
He's not up there for me. I don't know. I know we follow each other, we interact, but I don't know. Go ahead. Anyway, you got caught up in a crossfire game with Cam and Taunton. It is weird how those guys, like there's guys on Twitter like Matt and Grafton, Cam and Taunton, who have just made they've made like an online persona of them simply calling into a radio show, which is awesome.
Dan from Parlor.
Yeah. How many times do you think you've called in? Like 5 or 6?
It's definitely less than double digits. Yeah. Probably something like that.
To Felger and Mass. That's pretty good because there's some guys who are on every day. And I think we talked about this when we talked to like Felger or Mass. Like they're part of the show. They have to be like incorporated into the show. Yeah. Like when they're talking like pre-pro, like they're on. I probably listen to that show. I typically listen to the podcast the next day. But it's rare a day goes by without, like a Tommy and Lan or I noticed Carlton in Tampa's made a comeback, which is awesome.
Oh, he's back.
He's been on every day for the last like couple weeks, at least, maybe even longer. Yeah. Who else? Yeah, Tommy and Lynn, Matt and Grafton's good. It's a couple others I would know. Some of the women are good too.
Dakota and Braintree. Does he still call?
Yep. Guy in the car.
Yeah.
Guy in the car is good. Yeah. So anyway, I forget. I didn't mean to derail you. But yeah,
it's like a Drake album feature list.
Yep. Hell yeah, fucking right too, featuring Lil Wayne and Paul, Guy in the car. Yep. Paul in Boston. Paul in Boston's a good one.
What are the women's names? Did you say one?
I forget, but they're good. I like a couple of them. One's like a Brady. Like Brady dick suck, and the other one's like I forget what, but yeah, they're pretty good. Like there was one, the better like masshole accent, the better typically. There's one of the women who called in, I think last week, because they were talking just as much Bucks game last week as they are this week. I think she called in last week, and she's just like, my ideal week is Mac Jones sucks. He gets sacked every play, and it's Tom. I'll hang up and listen. Love you, Felgy. They like just go off of it. But I do want you to expand on this. Yeah, that sounds right. I didn't get a chance to look at the thread. I just saw initially you were talking about Matt Chatham, right?
Yeah. So basically, Cam said something about how he's glad that Matt Chatham had him blocked on Twitter.
What station is he on?
He's on Matt Chatham. It doesn't really
television.
Count. That's like the little stepbrother of the Boston media.
Okay.
But yeah, he was like, I'm glad that Matt Chatham had me blocked because from all accounts, it sounds like he was like unbearable and annoying to listen to. You still hear me? Uh-oh. Dan is frozen. So I'm going to pause this story for a second.
I'll let you. Yeah. Technical difficulties. Go ahead. As you were. Matt Chatham.
Yeah. So he works for Nesson, and
Okay.
Cam and Taunton said something about how he was glad that Matt Chatham had him blocked on Twitter because he had heard Matt Chatham the night before was annoying and unbearable in relation to the story. In relation to that new book that came out by Seth Wickersham. So if anyone's unaware, Seth Wickersham is a guy from ESPN. He's the one who originally broke like 3 years ago. He wrote an article about how there might be some problems between Belichick and Brady. Now, fast forward 3 years, he was right with a lot of that stuff. And now he's written a book about the whole thing. And I just said, let me just pull up the thread so I don't misrepresent myself. Let me see here. Okay. So I said, I saw Chatham on Nesson, and his main point was that Brady went on Howard Stern a few months ago and dispelled all of this. So why bother listening or paying attention to the Wickersham book? Since clearly he gets his info from, since according to Matt Chatham, he gets his info from second and third hand sources. Specifically, that in the Howard Stern interview, Brady completely contradicted the story about Belichick refusing to meet him to say goodbye one final time. Because I remember Brady went on there and was like, no, that's not true at all. And whatever, we had a conversation. And then some guy comes in and he goes, this is Robert Alvarez from,
of course,
at Pats Fans, which is a 25,000 like follower account, some sort of like social media for the Pats. He comes in and he goes, yeah, which it did, but notice me, Jones. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And why is this guy coming at me? So I just wrote a question mark. And he writes back, everything Chatham said was correct, but Cam needs to continue worshiping his favorite radio men rather than understand the facts. And so I was like, all right, so he's not coming at me. And this just started a whole beef between this guy and Cam and Taunton. And then Christian Arcand, who you and I both like and has been on the show, he had a pretty funny one. He was just like, these dudes are really on tilt this week. Sad. And then it just goes on where Cam and this guy are sniping back and forth, just being like, Cam's like, no, clearly there's some legitimacy to all these stories. And this guy, Robert Alvarez, being like, yeah, all Cam does is suck up to the media and also just like regurgitate every story.
Are you talking about Cam and Taunton or Cam Newton?
Cam and Taunton.
Okay, that's why I got confused. I jumped in and saw Cam, and I was really confused because I thought they meant Cam Newton. That makes more sense now.
Cam and Taunton. And so
nothing worse than getting caught up in a Twitter thread that you're not a part of.
Dude, it was funny, but my notifications were like blowing up because they went at each other for like 20 responses. Right. And I can see whatever. I can see either side, but I'm definitely on the side of, and I'm pretty sure you agree, that this is all pretty legitimate. Like, if there wasn't
I think so too.
Fire where there was smoke,
I
then
agree.
It wouldn't have ended. Number one, I think Brady would still be here if there hadn't been some personal
sure.
If it wasn't just like strictly money and there was like and there wasn't like an ego versus ego thing, and this wouldn't have happened.
Well, I think it was money, but not in the sense of like Tom Brady doesn't need whatever the difference between the contracts, and that doesn't matter. I think it was like the respect of, hey, this is what I'm asking for.
Yeah.
How can you justify not respecting that? That's what I think it breaks down to, which I think is legit. And I think that's what the basis of this book is getting at, I'm assuming. I will say this, though. Maybe I just didn't understand how this book worked from the beginning. I didn't know Brady, Belichick, and Kraft weren't involved at all. I thought they had some say in it. Again, but to a certain extent, it's not, from what I also understand, he talked to a lot of people who were very, very close with the team. So I do buy into that a little bit. I'll say, like, I'm not going to say I'm going to take everything with a grain of salt. I would take it a step above that. I don't know what the next, like, condiment would be, but probably like 95%. Like, okay, yeah, this is about right.
Himalayan sea salt.
Yeah, I'll take it with a grain of Himalayan pink sea salt. But I'm interested in reading it. Actually, I'm not interested in reading it. I hope it has an audiobook. I would listen to it. I still haven't read I have The Dynasty too by Jeff Benedict. I haven't read yet. That's been collecting dust since Christmas.
Same.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Shit is a fucking paperweight over here, and I've heard it's good.
Oh, it sounds phenomenal. I just haven't read it. I haven't even come close. What was I gonna say? I mean, it's also no shit. Like, there's some sort of animosity between these guys. Bill hasn't said the words Tom Brady since he left.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like he's different from Tom than every other Patriot who's left. There's been plenty of Patriots who've left and they've played against. He's talked about Vince Wilfork. He's talked about who else is left. That's the only one that I think at the top of my head. I know
Seymour.
Jamie Collins is left. Seymour's left. Malloy left on probably not great terms. That's another one. Oh, Rodney Harrison. I guess Rodney Harrison like left as a Patriot, and he literally still is a Patriot. From like,
Matt Castle.
Matt Castle. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's. And the other thing is, like, you obviously, like, elephant in the room, you understand you guys are, even if it's not something you want to talk about, you're perceived as the greatest coach of all time and the greatest player of all time. Mm-hmm. So yes, the media is probably going to ask you questions about this. And I think they've probably both made it harder than it has to be. This could have all been squashed a year ago. Bill could have easily said, hey, we tried to make it work. We both wanted different things. I wish him the best of luck, but we're moving on with my team. Same with Tom. But I think it's much easier for Tom because he won the Super Bowl. That can kind of do a lot of the talking for him. It's like, hey, yeah, like, I wish those guys the best, but I'm kind of watching Kansas City Chiefs film because we have a Super Bowl game in like a couple of weeks, and he's on and at this point, it's clear he's on the better team. The Bucs are the better team. No matter what happens Sunday, the Bucs are the better team.
I still have to do my research.
Oh boy, I think the Bucs are projected to be the better team this year, and I think they'll win Sunday. But there is something about coming up to New England. I think there's still something to game planning for Tom Brady is different than any other quarterback because you know him. You've known him for 20 years. So that being said, I think the Bucs win, but I think it's competitive. I think they can still win by double digits, or excuse me, double, like, 2 scores, but I'd still consider that competitive. It's like, if it's like, I don't know, 31-17, 31-14 is a blowout. 31-20, I think is about as close as it will get. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's as close as I can get. And if this show's proven anything, where I'm usually dead wrong on predictions before we record. So I'm going to go, 31-20 Bucs. Meaning Nick Folk's going to kick a game winner at 1:30 a.m. to win like 43-42, which will be great. What's your prediction on the score?
I'm going to go with a nail-biting 38-14 classic.
56-10. What was that final? I'm trying to think of some Patriots blowouts. The one that comes to mind is the snow game against the Titans. I think it was like 51-10 or something like that. I think Wes Welker had like 300 yards receiving.
Dude, even on the plays when
awesome.
When Brady was airing it out all game.
All game.
Dude, when you air it out in the snow, the ball is just going end over end like a fucking punt.
Right.
And still there was no one within miles of any Moss.
And you don't know where the end zone is.
Mm-mm.
Like, they eventually would just stop running. I'd be like, oh, I think that's a touchdown. That game was awesome. I think it was a red jersey game too. That game was so sick. That was one of the best games of my life.
The Deflategate game.
I know there's some Jets. Oh, the Colts The Colts
Yeah,
game, AFC
I know that score
Championship.
was ridiculous.
It was funny story. If any of our local listeners, so I remember that was when I was living back in Dover. It was me and Ari went to the bar with like Sean and his wife, a couple other people. You weren't there, were you? You didn't go to Dover for the AFC Championship. Okay, so it was one of those games. I was nervous about that game going into it. Side note, remember when people were in the Tebow game?
Oh yeah,
when we were playing the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
I remember people were like, "Yeah, this has trap game written all over it." I'm pretty sure. I remember at that game, I was like, I probably had a few cocktails in me. Some drink. I had some drinks. I was drinking too. And I was basically saying like, hey, like, yeah, these Patriots score like shots on me. I probably spent $200 that night, like on shots for like people around me. I think LeGarrette Blount had like 6 touchdowns. I think Andrew Luck had 6 picks. I think he had 6 pick sixes. And yeah, but that game's with an asterisk. They were cheating.
Yeah,
deflated footballs.
Yeah,
that's the worst
scored
part
more
about
in the second half than they did in the first half.
Yeah. Like even if like Deflategate came down, like, hey, you guys clearly cheated. It's like it wasn't a competitive game. If that's like what pushed him over to squeak by and win, maybe. But that Colts team stunk. Anyway, what do I want to see? Anything particular you say?
Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
All right, I have a take. So,
okay,
2 takes, really quick. First of all, did you happen to hear the stuff from like Tom Brady's dad and Alex Guerrero this week, or the stories about that? All right.
Yeah, that was last week. I'm pretty sure.
That's true. They've been talking about it so fucking long. I don't know what's what anymore.
I know. Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Starting to sound like Boston radio, but anyways, the fact that like if people don't think that there's actual legitimacy to this, Tom Brady is the most calculated person in the world. Like he knows how many fucking skins of zucchini he eats every night. So if you don't think that he's the one that's behind his dad and Guerrero coming on and saying those things, or at least them being like, hey, I would like to say this publicly. Is it okay? And they run it by him. At the very least, it's that. So that's number one.
Yeah.
Number 2, I think that let's say Brady wins 1 more, so he wins 2 total with the Bucks. I feel like this could be the biggest bag fumble of all time, bigger than like Babe Ruth, because like obviously him and Belichick already won 6, and the other thing that I was like thinking of comparing it to was Shaq and Kobe, who won 3 together. Then they couldn't get along, and whatever. That's like 6. Some would argue is literally double of 3. I think it's the biggest bag fumble because they were already in the upper echelon of like an untouchable duo, but 6 is still like semi attainable. Like who knows if fucking Mahomes and I don't know, like Andy Reid go on a run or something like that. But if they were to get to 8, like they would have been in the permanent. All right, everyone else is playing for
sure. But here's my counter to that. I don't think they would have won 2 more in New England. Like I think him in Tampa is a way better team than him in New England would have been.
That's true.
Like,
I don't think
when he left in 2019, they stunk. Like they were not good.
Yeah, and you're saying that from the perspective of like Belichick wouldn't have been willing to put weapons around him as we saw the last few years, pretty much, right?
They still wouldn't be as good as the weapons in Tampa.
Right. That's what
I'm not saying
like,
they would have been like competing with Tampa. Okay. Well, actually, that's actually a good point because it's like Tampa would still be Tampa, I think. So I guess you're now looking at like that Patriots team would be competing with Kansas City and Baltimore and like the Packers and San Fran, I guess. I don't know. Like say he plays another including last year, 1, this is 2, 3, 4 years in New England instead of going to Tampa. I don't think they win 2. There's no way. Not with that team.
Yeah.
But also, who knows how much of that had to do with Brady just being pissed? Like 2019, Brady was ready to go. You could definitely tell. The second half of that year, he was ready to go. That was the year they started 8-0, right? And then, I don't know. I just think what happened was meant to happen. And again, like this isn't. I think this was made into a bigger deal than it had to be. Like Brady's not the first player to leave his longtime franchise to go somewhere else.
Right.
You know, Paul Pierce did it. I don't know, football, everyone compares him to Joe Montana. He did virtually the same thing. Brady happened to go to Tampa, which had good weapons. He was instrumental in bringing some more weapons in, and they won the Super Bowl. I think Brady was probably like 70% of that. But at this point, I get what you're saying. Every like inch the Buccaneers get better, it definitely makes Belichick look way worse. Like at this point, I don't think it's close anymore between the two.
I was like, I still want Brady to do well. Obviously, I don't want him to play well when he's playing against the Pats, but I don't mind him doing well. But then I was thinking the other day, like, something I wanted to bring up was that the better that he does as time goes on, we're getting to a point where like, it's like, yeah, the Patriots and New England enjoyed 6 Super Bowls with him. And then now if he continues to win, it's going to be easier for fans around the country to just like point and laugh at Patriots fans because they're like, you know what? Brady's not so bad after all. He's becoming more likable, and now he's not on your fucking team, and you guys have to deal with him winning just
like
as much as the rest of us do.
Yeah,
so that part kind of sucks now.
I think there's a difference between Patriots fan. Like I consider myself a Patriots fan, but I also don't consider myself a person who's like proactively rooting Belichick over Brady.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I still think a big part of that dynasty was Brady and Belichick. I just think now you can argue that it was proportionately Brady, more so than maybe Belichick. Like 70-30, 80-20, whatever you want to say. But I know what you mean. It's like the better Brady does and the worse the Patriots are. It's like a negative to Patriots fans, which whatever. Like if that's what you have to do to make yourself feel better. It doesn't erase the last 20 years. The last 20 years in New England was probably the best run for an organization and a fan base in the history of life.
Yeah.
So I'll take it. You know what I mean? I think we've said it before. It's like, I don't think there's ever been a time for that long where you could go into a season every year and expect to win the Super Bowl, or at a minimum expect to be contending for a Super Bowl.
Right.
Literally 20 years. You know what I mean? Like there was never a year we went in where they weren't the expected favorites. I can't think of another franchise where that's been the case. Maybe the Celtics back in like the 50s and 60s, I guess, but like, or like the Yankees in like the 1920s with Murderers Row. But at this point, it's like I said, it's like, it's not a bad thing to have. That's how it should work. You're good for a little bit, you go down, you rebuild, and then you get good again. Very rarely does it transition. And I know people talked about this. I think it's like Favre transitioning to Rodgers was one, and Manning transitioning to Luck was one. Besides that, pretty much it. Like if you're picking at the top of the draft, you're probably doing it for a reason. Like you got to rebuild and then go back again.
So we're just going to overlook the Jordan to Eddie Curry era in Chicago.
But no, I didn't. If you let me finish, I was going to finish the rest of the examples. But yes, that too. I'll say this: after this weekend, 1-3 is tough. Like that's going to be tough from a Patriots perspective. Here's the other thing: like all these other side stories about the game, like this is the Patriots need to win this game simply for the win-loss record.
Yep.
2-2 is way different than 1-3.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah, they should have been 2-1 going into this game. We didn't talk about this, and I knew this was going to happen. Like it was so easy to make last week a trap game with New Orleans.
Yeah,
and it happened. That was inevitable. I didn't think they were going to look that bad, but there was not no one said a word about Saints Patriots last week. Understandable. I know how radio works, but It's like, dude, come the fuck on. Like, you have to win. You have to win that game. That was a must, not a must win, but very, very important game to win, just from a simple record standpoint. Because we went through it earlier in the week. I think it's Houston next week, which I hope they can win. And then that Dallas game is huge. That Dallas game is going to determine, I think, 500 or 2 games below 500, right?
Yeah.
So they'd be 1-3. They beat Houston. They're 2-3. 2-4 stinks because then they still have the Chargers. They still have the Bills twice. Who else do they? Well, they play the NFC, so they have Philly, Washington, and the Giants. I don't know. They have Carolina, I remember. I don't think they play the Chiefs this year, which is weird.
Thank God.
Maybe they do. I don't think they do, though. Or the Ravens. There's another, like, good team they have to play.
Tyreek Hill just doing laps around Gillette Stadium.
Never a good look. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, we talked about our predictions. I guess I'm kind of interested in seeing some of the stuff, but at this point, I feel like if you're a New England fan, I'm over it at this point. They've been talking about this game since August. Like, I'm just ready for the actual game. I'd love nothing more to win the coin toss, come out with the ball, have a good-looking drive, and score a touchdown. That would be great.
Yeah. Put Brady, I don't think he plays pool for all of his talents, but it would put him behind the 8 ball, if you know what I mean.
Did it sound like that on your end?
Oh, no, it sounds fine on my end now.
Oh, it sounded kind of sloppy. We're having a little technical difficulties if you haven't noticed. But you were saying you had a thought?
Damn, my memory sucks because I already forgot what I was
Ollie, enough! Stop it. Go ahead.
All right, Dan was saying that we were having some technical difficulties.
A lot
in
of
the meantime, I
difficulties.
think he's having some animal difficulties. So why don't you explain what's going on your end?
Yeah, we'll wrap up here. I mean, Bucks Patriots, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. We'll see. But I got a new puppy last week. He's currently trying to chew the cord to the lights. Shit all over the house earlier tonight. So there's a lot going on my end.
Solid?
Pretty solid. Yeah.
All right. Hey, take your wins where you can.
Yeah. So we'll get wrapping up here. We had some other stuff we want to talk about. We'll save it for next week. So let's do this. My final prediction for the game, I'm going to go 31. Ugh, God, that seems low. I'm going to go 35-17. He's literally pissing on the floor right now. 35-17 Bucks.
I'll go 31-17, your original pick.
Okay, awesome. Great.
Oh, wait, you just said 35-17?
Yeah.
Okay, so we just made
31
identical picks pretty much.
Average, Leahy's going to love that. Average yards per punt for Jake Bailey.
Oh.
Did you put money on that? What's the over-under? 100?
I'd like to see, but I think he averages like 45. Does that sound like
I heard he's playing
number?
terrible.
Huh?
I haven't really been paying attention. Every time I listen to the radio, they say Jake Bailey sucks. I know he's kicked a couple out of bounds.
Yeah.
He had one blocked last week. I hate to see it. I really do hate to see it. He's probably my favorite player on the team.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely gives the coolest plays. He gives the only highlights of the team.
Yeah, if I were to buy a jersey this year, it'd be Jake Bailey. I don't know what number he is.
Did you see that
9?
Mac Jones at like right before the season started was, I think, either number 1 or number 2 in jersey sales?
I didn't see that.
That is insane.
Wait, like overall players in the league or up here? No chance.
In the league.
That's wild. No, I did not see that. I don't know if I believe it.
Maybe I should fact check myself later. But I'm pretty sure I read that.
If you tweeted that would get stamped for the fact check. That can't be true.
The little bubble pops up underneath.
True. Yeah. Are you sure you want to send this tweet? Because it's definitely not right. You ever gotten that one? I've gotten it a few times.
I haven't.
I've told someone to like fuck off. And they're like, this could be seen as like offensive. Are you sure you want to send this? Yes.
Oh, damn. I'm going to tell you
I do want to tell Clay Travis to go fuck himself. Yeah. Please send my tweet.
God, what a fucking
Yeah.
he's
That's
had an
interesting.
interesting week.
Yeah, yeah, we'll save that. But anyway, we'll head to Bats. We'll come back next week. Might have some new friends on with us next week. Anything else from you before we hop off?
Can't wait for this Jaguars Bengals game tonight.